Hello, I am 29 years old, and my story is real. It happened 2 months ago. To be honest, it haunts me, and I decided to post it here. My old school friend, whose name is Jacob, he called me and said he wanted to come. Right after school, he left our small town and went to college in a big city. We almost lost touch with him, but with the advent of cellular communication, we found each other. So he said he wanted to come and see his hometown. I was glad, of course. I was glad at the prospect of seeing an old comrade. I figured out the options and invited him to my place. The three of us lived together. Me, Amelia's wife, and our 3-year-old daughter. My wife was cranky at first, but then agreed that he should stay with us. The apartment, thank God, is 3-room, a hall, our bedroom, and a daughter. For the convenience of our daughter, we moved her to our bedroom, and he was given an entire room. I decided to meet my friend with dignity. I booked a table at the restaurant on the day of his arrival. I met him at the airport. We didn't stop talking for the rest of the day. Everything about life, about doubles, treatments, pubs, and interests was something to discuss. A lot of history has accumulated in 12 years. My daughter was taken to my parents, as it was possible to plan for a restaurant for a long time. By the way, my wife and I haven't gone anywhere for a long time, so we decided to sit until it stops. So we went there. Our evening was a success. Jacob has become even more of a buffoon over the years. What he didn't tell me: he recently got married for the second time. The first marriage was unsuccessful. The evening flew by like a flash. My wife and I laughed at his stories and jokes without stopping. You know, we didn't notice how time passed, but we drank a lot. Apparently, our rare use affected us. We got so carried away. I did get a little stronger, yes, but Jacob had to take us both out of the restaurant, literally put us in a taxi, rather even shove us inside. I can hardly remember how we got home. I was falling off my feet. I remember that he was trying to tell his wife something. I wake up in the morning. It was not good. My wife was still asleep. Jacob also went to the store, bought a beer, and drank it. It got easier. Then we went for a walk. The company had unrealistically fun. That's the truth, they say, and it's just about him, the soul of the company. We walked around the city, partially looked at our old places, his house where he lived. They remembered how I came to him on a bike after school, and we went for a walk in the nearest forest. We remembered our pranks and stories from school age. The next day, Monday, I had to go to work. Jacob was going to walk around the city alone. I ordered Amelia to tell him if he needed anything, then let him call. I dropped in at work. I work in an organization, so to speak. I'm sitting behind a pile of papers. Fortunately, the salary is good, but there is a lot of work, stupid reports, a lot of things that it is impossible to even get out. That's why I left Jacob without my help and without a transport. We sat and talked in the evening, but for several days I couldn't go anywhere with him. He was sad. A whole week passed like that. He was already leaving on Friday, and I swore that I would pick him up and take him to the airport. In the morning, as usual, I took my daughter to kindergarten and rushed to work in time to pick him up in the afternoon. There was a lot to do quickly. Jacob called at a little after 10, said he was fully packed and ready to leave, and I was having problems. He said he could call a taxi, but I wanted to personally escort him. I said no, I'm definitely waiting at 12, and grabbed my head. They were waiting for urgent information from me. And then my partner, a good girl, came to my rescue. When she found out the reason, she took all the papers and said, "I'll do it for you." After that, I jumped into the car and rushed home. I flew up the stairs, flew into the apartment, and saw that there was a packed bag next to the sofa in the hallway. Jacob was sitting on the couch with his pants down, and Amelia was completely naked in the most natural way. I think you've guessed what I was doing to him. It's hard for me to describe what happened next. I remember hitting him in the face once and saying, "Get out," and he silently left the apartment with his belongings. The wife went into the bedroom and got dressed. I had a strong desire to kill him, but I restrained myself. Summoning all my willpower, I asked him why. She wanted to launch her verbal attack on me, but she couldn't stand it, drooped and told me everything. On the day of the meeting, when we returned home, heavily drunk, I fell asleep. She decided to share a bed with him anyway. He pulled up her dress while she was making the bed. She doesn't know why, but she didn't resist, allowed herself to be exposed, and that's where it all happened. The next day, they pretended that nothing had happened. But on Monday, when I left for work, they had a conversation about what had happened, which, as you might have guessed, only led to her being under his command again. And so the whole week passed. While I was at work, he did not walk around the city, but slept with my wife. I realized that this is not for me. I got angry. I ran around different offices for about a month. Found out, but everywhere I was told that in case of divorce, the child would stay with his mother. I couldn't afford to let that happen. I can't leave her, meaning my daughter, in any way. That's what I'm ashamed of. That I realized that I couldn't do anything, no matter how much I wanted to. I came home like a beaten dog. And so, a few days after everything that happened, I found myself back in the same state I was in when I first learned the truth. There was a torrent of emotions raging inside me that couldn't be suppressed. I tried to focus on my work, but thoughts of betrayal haunted me. Every time I entered my office, my gaze involuntarily turned to the photos on the desktop, where we were all happy and selflessly trusted each other. It all seemed like a lie now. Jacob disappeared as if he had never existed. He disappeared from our lives as easily as he entered it. I did not answer his calls, and I did not expect any forgiveness or explanation. I couldn't talk to Amelia properly either. As soon as I started talking, she started making excuses and swearing her love again, but I couldn't listen to those words anymore. Everything she said sounded like an excuse for her own weaknesses. The first weeks after her betrayal passed in gloomy silence. Every day I returned home and felt the hatred for the one with whom I had once planned to spend my life accumulating. I could see how hard it was for her, but at the same time I couldn't understand why she couldn't just finish everything and not torment both of us. I decided that there should be a divorce after all. Shortly after the divorce, I focused on building a relationship with my daughter. I began to devote more time to her, organize walks together, and together we began to engage in new exciting activities that she liked. I enrolled her in clubs and classes so that she could develop and enjoy life. At work, I also tried to focus on my responsibilities and took up projects that I had previously postponed. I took on new tasks and began to actively develop professionally, which allowed me to escape from personal worries and find satisfaction in my work. Now I'm trying to rebuild my life, step by step, day by day. It's hard, but I understand that I need to move forward for myself and for my daughter. She is the most valuable thing to me, and I will do everything in my power to make her life as good as possible.